Hello and welcome to Boring Dad Gaming, where I'm going to be playing the sort of games that you may well have watched your own dad play when you were growing up. You know, boring dad games, that kind of thing. We're going to be looking at some strategy games. I'm going to be starting a Football Manager 22 career with creating my own club. But today we're going to be looking at a role-playing game that came out fairly recently. You may well have seen it yourself. It's called Solasta, Crown of the Magster. Now this is a game where it's based upon the Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. Most people think it's the most faithful recreation of that kind of rules, and as a result, it's probably the closest you can get in PC gaming at the moment to actually playing a tabletop Dungeons and Dragons adventure yourself. So it's good fun. It's not without its issues, which we'll get to in time, but to actually playing the game is very good fun. So we're going to launch into it now. It actually had a DLC expansion released recently that I've played. That's pretty good. But we're gonna be starting off, I think, with the main campaign, the very first campaign, called Crown of the Magster here. So, unlike a lot of role-playing games, what you'll actually do at the start is create four characters of your own who are going to form your party. So we're going to launch and create our own straight away. Now very shortly we're going to see what's probably a lot of people's biggest issue with the game, which is that the character models are not the best. I mean, if we're being charitable, we might call them interesting to look at. They're certainly not the prettiest you've ever seen in a game, but they're okay. And for most of the time, they're going to be extremely zoomed out, so it's not going to be something that you particularly notice too much when you're actually playing. So our first character, I tend to like someone who's a bit of a tank, someone who can take the damage for the rest of the party. So we're probably going to be looking at, say, a Paladin perhaps is always a good one. So for that, you probably want someone with high charisma. So what sort of class do we have for him? It's possible the Constitution and Wisdom is actually quite nice, but I think if we Dexterity half-elf perhaps. So a half-elf comes with a charisma +2 already, so that's going to be a good choice for a paladin, I think. And they also have dark vision, which in this game, dark vision is useful because light level will play quite a big part in whether or not you're actually able to hit monsters, and vice versa. It works both ways. But yeah, so we're going to select that. This is where we choose our class. So as I said, we'll choose a paladin, I think, for our sort of main tank in the party, who can also heal a bit, which is very useful. So we can see their sort of traits here. We've got they can wear any type of armour, they can use a shield, pretty much any weapon. They can heal, got a few spells. So they're a pretty good choice. They're good all-rounders. I'm not going to edit the starting equipment, we'll just get going on that. Select a deity. So again, this will sort of give you sort of different abilities, I think, within the game. It changes your alignment as well, so it depends what sort of character we want to be. Now the role, it's fairly light on the actual role-playing part of role-playing games, so there isn't a lot of sort of alignment choices or things that affect that. So we'll go with the lawful good one though, the sort of traditional paladins. And we get to choose a background, and here your background will give you sort of different proficiencies in certain things, like here they're already proficient in athletics and intimidation, so they'll be sort of able to climb things a bit better and perhaps bully people into doing something they don't want to do. As a paladin, we're already proficient with medium armour, so that's fine. We get an additional language. It's not a bad choice for them. We could look at something like, if we look at Acolyte, for instance, they're more proficient in religion, nature, herbalism. I don't think that's possibly the best choice for our paladin though. Aristocrat's okay. Academic's not too bad, but we want probably our wizard to be academic, so we're not going to worry too much about that for him. Perception with Lawkeeper, martial weapons we've got already. So I think we'll probably go with Sellsword, someone who's a bit more of a soldier. You can choose background personality, which, again, you don't notice an awful lot when you're playing. I don't think that's you know, the most important part of creating a character, but for the sake of argument, we'll say that they're authoritative and kind, maybe quite lawful and altruistic. They're sort of the general Paladin stuff. And here is where we can sort of assign values to our attributes. It tells you here that for a Paladin, the most important scores are going to be strength, i.e. how much damage you do and how likely you are to hit stuff, so that's always good. Charisma, which powers a lot of the Paladin abilities. And Constitution, because we're going to be taking a lot of hits, so we're going to want sort of quite high health to be able to take a few punches and keep standing. And actually, we've actually opened on a very good set of dice rolls here. I mean, I normally have to re-roll a few times to get something half decent, but you know, straight away that I think we can make use of this. So I think what we'll do is we'll have high strength, we'll have high charisma, which should go up to 19 there with our half elf bonus there, which is good. Next highest in Constitution, so we'll have a lot of hit points. And then the rest is probably not as important, but I will give them quite high dexterity, because that will help a little bit with our armor class, which is how likely we are to be hit by enemies. So if we can limit that, that's going to be good. And wisdom and intelligence, I mean, they're almost dump stats really. We're not going to use them too much. Now we can increase 2 other scores by 1 point each, so immediately we're going to put an extra point into strength and constitution. So, you know, for our 3 main ability scores there, we're already looking really good, so I'm quite happy with that. We're going to specify a few skills, 2 skills here that we can add that they're going to be good at. I don't think sleight of hand or stealth is that useful, but we'll go maybe acrobatics. Like enemies will try and push you over, or there's maybe surfaces that you can slip on, so we're going to ensure that we're slightly better chance of staying on our feet. And I think he's probably going to be the main face of the party as well, so if we give them a higher score in persuasion, they'll be a bit better at some of those conversation checks. We can also choose 2 class skills. We're limited to a choice of 3, we can choose 2 of those. I guess we've already got +1 in religion, so we'll top that up a bit. Medicine, I don't think that's not going to be too important for us. So insight can be important. It'll help you sort of get good conversation options. It's not a very high score, but it might help a bit. We can choose 1 ancestry language, so let's go with... Now some of these you'll notice have little flags on them, and it says, you know, it's part of the rule set. You can select it for role-playing purposes, but actually within the game it's not really going to be coming up. So what we might do is avoid those ones and say that he can speak Orcish. And another one, which is probably good, Old Temerian, I think would be good. Yeah, so he's looking pretty good. And by looking pretty good, I mean looking really terrible, because the first thing that you'll probably notice here is that the character, as I said, the character models are not, they're not the most amazing. Now you've got a choice of 6 faces. I mean, that beard's going to have to go as well. Maybe we'll start with some of the faces that I mean, another thing you'll notice, there's not a tremendous amount of variety between them. We're going to sort of maybe lighten up his skin a little more. It's a bit pink there, isn't it? Yeah, maybe scars. I mean, he's a fighter. There is sort of quite a wide selection of scar choices, actually. Some of them are quite horrible looking, actually, aren't they? What's that one? Oh, yeah, this is just on the nose, isn't it? Back to that. That's a bit much, probably. I don't mind that. That's not too bad. It looks like he's been in a fight, but it's not horribly disfiguring. Now the hair's going to have to change as well. And another thing I'll notice is that during character creation, they seem to give you the hair options for all the men and women within the same sort of set of choices. So we're playing a male paladin, obviously, but we're going to get some interesting hair choices that would more usually be with one of the female characters that you can make. not tremendously taken with any of the choices really, but try and pick one that's not too bad. Back around to that. That might be among the best. He's a bit sort of early Hugh Grant, but it's not too bad perhaps. Beard shape. Get rid of the beard maybe. There we go. So he's already looking a bit better. I think the beard was a big part of the problem with him. We changed the hair colour, lighten that up a little bit. Yeah, that's quite good. Eye colour. Yeah, brighter. It's maybe a bit too bright. That's a bit better. That's not quite so piercing. Physique, well, he is a fighter, so we'll try and give him a bit of muscle tone there. There's not going to be a huge amount of choice in the voices either. You get for each gender, you sort of get 2 unique voices and a third voice that's kind of shared between them. So voice 1.
Dive in the dirt now.
Sounds a bit grizzled for him, doesn't it?
Don't let me down. Well done.
Oh, that's even.
Damn, a trap.
That's even more.
What an idiot! We've got a hidden door. You like that?
That's probably the best one actually, so we'll keep that. We're not going to really do the backstory. That's probably just for a bit of flavour. You do get sort of some randomised choices, but I think that for each race there's probably only about 6 choices, so we'll see them, if you scroll through them, you see the same ones coming up quite often. Maybe we'll call him Boring Paladin. There we go. So we're going to select him as our first party member. There we go. Do the same thing again. New character. Now I quite like rangers in this game, but not with sort of a bow. If you can have them as dual wielders, and they're actually pretty good fighters when they do that. I think that in the recent DLC as well, they're sort of given a different class, or subclass rather, that it makes them even more effective with 2 weapons, so that's a good one to pick. And with the ranger, we're going to be sort of a dexterity build on this, so already an elf has got a dexterity bonus. I don't think the oh, actually we can be a sylvan elf, can't we? There we go. So we get the dexterity, but we also get wisdom, which I think is quite good for rangers. I think that, I think they do get some spells, and I think that the wisdom score is what contributes to the effectiveness of those. So we'll go with that. Well, we'll have a female ranger this time. There we go, ranger. Now, here we get to see that you can select some things here. So we can choose a favoured enemy. So this is an enemy that, when we come up against them, we'll be doing a little more damage to them. Now, I have played through the main campaign. I can't remember what are the most common types of creature, but I think undead is a fairly safe choice. I think we'll be coming up against a lot of them. Similarly, not too sure which type of terrain we're going to be mainly going in. I know we do go to some swamps. Maybe some mountains. I feel like we're in dungeons a lot of the time, and I'm not sure if your terrain bonuses apply when you're in a dungeon. Lovely. Now this Wanderer, this is another class that's available in DLC, and I mean the background classes, they're okay. They had some bonuses. I'm not really sure what Wanderer gets us a bit more in survival and nature. That's fine. Uses the herbalism kit. I don't tend to make a lot of potions or use the smith tools that much, so that's sort of by the by really. But we'll go with it. We'll see if that sort of has much of an impact on our game. We can say that they're quite cautious and pragmatic. They live in the wild. They're out on their own, trying to survive. So they're probably going to be a bit like that. Yeah, we'll stick with that. Stick with that. And we can already see that the initial dice rolls we've been given here are a bit lower. They're not too bad, but I think perhaps we can do better. So let's click through a few times and just see if we can raise those up at all. So this is good. That was what, 5 or 6 different rerolls, and we've got got pretty good setup here. So if we put the 18 in dexterity, which is going to be our most important stat, I think. Already we sort of maxed that out at level 1, which is brilliant. Wisdom, they are going to be a frontline fighter, so Constitution is going to be important again. So if we give them fairly high Wisdom, which gets another little boost. And the rest are not that important really, so I mean Strength's not going to be important. Maybe Intelligent for some skills, Charisma, not too bad. Let's see what we do next. So 3 class skills here. Stealth can be important sometimes, so we'll, at least if we have someone in the party who can sneak around, that would be good. Investigation, again, this has got the tag saying that it's not really used within the campaign, so that's more of a sort of flavour pick, whereas Insight is something that we will use, so we'll give that a little bump. Our other choice, Animal Handling, again, is mainly flavour. We'll go Investigation, just for the sake of it. We don't get any extra language choices here, unfortunately. And again, here we come to the character creator. I'm looking for someone who's fairly decent. I don't really like any of these. Maybe this one? Maybe? Maybe give her a bit of a darker skin tone. Yeah, that's quite nice. Not going to add scars. Do something with the hair, that's a bit basic, isn't it? Actually, don't mind that. That's pretty good. In terms of the colour, we can make it darker. Go sort of more of a red colour, red brown. Yeah, that's all right. Don't mind that. Maybe something a bit more exotic on the eye colour, maybe like a purple. It's not too bad. Zeke, maybe a little bit more muscle, not too much. And then we'll see what the voices, what the voice options are like.
Clumsy idiot. Hey, a secret door. Stop. A trap.
We've got a hidden door. You'll get us all killed.
Probably that one.
That's the way.
This is the third voice that's kind of shared between male and female characters, and
Well done.
to me,
Damn, a trap.
it just sounds like a man.
Okay,
So
you're tough.
I'm not sure why. There you go. We're gonna have there's sort of a nice ranger name in here. Marcellet. That sounds okay. Marcellet Wiley Fox. There we go. That's not too bad. Actually, I am going to back up a little bit though, because I've just remembered. The best background for us. I did select Wanderer, but I'm actually going to reselect that as Lowlife. And the reason I'm doing that is because we're not going to have a rogue in the party this time. We're going to have our ranger is going to be our rogue basically. So by choosing Lowlife, we've given them a sleight of hand, stealing, which is okay. But it does mean that we're going to be able to open chests and crates and boxes that are locked and doors, which we do, and disarm traps. So we will be doing a lot of all of that. So it's going to be important to have someone who can do that. Got to choose different personalities. So I think we'll caution and egoism. They'll be a bit full of themselves. I think these are the same stats, so we'll just put these exactly back where they were. Intelligence. There we go. These reset. I think they have. Did select stealth though, didn't I? Maybe because we've gone to the low life class, so I think we get that automatically actually. So let's just add these 3 quickly. That's the same. We did lose the name, but we'll probably get it back quite quickly. There we go. Marcelli Whiteleaf. That'll do. So we're going to finish that up, and now we're going to select her as our second option. So we've got 2 frontline characters really. One's going to be probably sword and shield, or one-handed weapon and shield. We've got a ranger who's going to be our sort of dual-wielding fighter. Going to have a wizard in the 4th spot. So in terms of who our third character is going to be, we could. I'll have to pick a race first as anything. We might have to go back, but I think what I'm tempted to do is maybe go with a druid, which I've not really played with before. It's a DLC class, and I've only recently bought that and haven't actually used one yet in the campaign, so that might be interesting. If we have a half-orc druid, so they got the strength. The clerics are quite strong, but maybe a druid instead of a cleric would be fine. We've got the paladin anyway. They're going to be sort of a melee fighter is the only thing. So I'm not sure about that. I do want to try out a half-orc, but I think they seem sort of predisposed to going towards the fighter or barbarian classes, which we're not going to be using. So what I might do is go with the dwarf cleric, which is sort of something I've used a couple of times. They seems to work out quite well. Cleric is a very strong class. You can do the healing, damage from distance. You can soak up damage as a tank, and attack from range or melee. It's a strong class, so we'll go with that. Now this is again a sort of a new addition. That's more of, yeah, that's sort of like almost like an illusionist sort of class, a trickster class. I'm not sure about that. Whereas the battle cleric, you get spells like magic missile, fireball, which is really good. In fact, they're all really good. So this is tempting. I don't know how much healing we're going to need to do, because you can always take short rests or long rests relatively regularly. So I might give that a go. Maybe more of a sort of wizard cleric hybrid sort of thing. Bit of healing, bit of damage, bit of a tank. That could be good. I guess something like a cleric, you kind of think acolyte, don't you? So he would have the herbalism kit, which is all right. We could make him a wanderer, because I did want to try that out, and we sort of changed that before, didn't we? So I'm tempted. I think we might do that. He's a wandering cleric. He's maybe kind but cautious. And maybe we'll make him violent as well. He's a violent priest. Pragmatic, there we go. Some different stuff there. These are not great. Let's click a few times, see if we can improve them. That's not bad. I do try to like get 17s and 18s, but that's not bad all round. I'm gonna throw more here. Now that's good. I like that. So they're saying con's the most important, but I think because we don't have a strength modifier, although I think you've got to go wisdom there, because that rounds it up to 18, which is a good +4 on the modifier. If we do this in constitution, again it's gone up to 18 with the +2, so that's pretty good. I think we have to put this in strength now. It's not massive, but he's not going to be attacking melee all the time. In fact, probably not even that much of the time. Bit of dex just to maybe boost the armor class a little bit. Maybe. Now, do we make him really uncharismatic, or do we make him really dumb? Either way, we'll make him really dumb with a bit of charisma. How about that? He's very wise, but not very bright. A couple of class skills here. We can already see our lack of intelligence here is affecting some stuff. He's a cleric who knows nothing about religion there. However that works. But we'll give him medicine and insight. We can choose a few starting cantrips for him. Sacred Flame's a pretty good one. Bit of damage from distance. Sparkle's good, because what we're going to be wanting to do is light a lot of fires to sort of brighten corridors and stuff for us, because certain enemies are actually debuffed by having to fight in the light. So especially things like undead and vampires, if you can sort of light up the room you're fighting, and actually they get what's called disadvantage on their attack rolls against you, which means they have to roll the dice twice and take the lower result. Which can mean that they're just missing you constantly, and all you've done is light a few candles. The next one, we can light up an enemy, or we can light up an object. I'll probably go with objects. You can stick a light on your weapon then, and then you can pretty much see anything you're hitting with. Let's go with that. No, I don't like that at all. With dwarfs, I find it's good to maybe get the beard right first, and then everything else sort of falls into place. That's good. That's a good dwarf beard, isn't it? Big and bushy. Hair type. That's a possible. Ooh. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good dwarf haircut, isn't it? Yeah, that's pretty bad. Pretty good. No. 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 Maybe. I think that might be the best, actually. He's a bit grizzled, but that's fine. He's been around the block a few times. Fofi. So we can just change that slightly. And he's going to be called Fluffy. Fluffy Stout Shield. Our cleric. Brilliant. Let's do that. Everything else looks alright. Hair colour, I don't mind that. What does he look like when he's grey? A bit old. That's okay. We'll leave him with black beard and black hair. Eye colour. Or it's just brown eyes. I don't know about that actually. Green eyes maybe. That's not too bad. Age. We can make them really old. He's a bit of an old geezer there. We can sort of make him a little bit older. You know, he's got a bit of experience. He's been travelling on his own for a long time.
Well done. Come on, harder.
Yeah, I think this is the voice I generally use for dwarves. It seems to fit them quite well. And that, I think, means we're good to go with him. Last of all then, we're going to make a wizard. And high elf might be good for that, although dexterity and intelligence. It's a half elf. It's charisma. Half elf's probably better for something like a sorcerer because of the charisma. I think that wouldn't work at all, would it? So we're going to go high elf wizard. Female, we can do. Now the reason I choose wizard over sorcerer is that we're going to find a lot of items that we can't identify. And wizard gets a spell that naturally allows them to just identify stuff on the fly without even using a spell slot, whereas sorcerer doesn't get that ability. And although sorcerer is a lot better for straight damage dealing, actually from a usefulness point of view in the party, wizard is actually, I think, more useful. Now we want to make them an academic because academic is the only background that gives you proficiency with this, what's called a Mana Calon Rosary, and what that does is it means you can enchant your own weapons and armour, which is something we'll be doing a lot of. Probably from the middle game onwards, as we found a lot of ingredients and weapons and armour that we can upgrade, and we want to be able to do that. So that's something that we will definitely use. I'm going to make them greedy and egotist. They can have authority and egoism. There we go. That's not too bad. We got 17 there, but we're gonna roll just a few more times and see if we can improve upon that a bit more around as an average. It's not too bad. I would like to sort of get them towards maximum intelligence if possible. So an 18 would be really good if we can roll an 18 relatively soon. That's pretty good. We'll stick with this. So I have 17 there to get an 18 in intelligence. Dexterity is quite important because that's really going to be their only way of getting armour, just by being dexterous and being able to avoid stuff. I mean, strength is a dump stat for wizards, so that can go there. High-ish constitution is not bad because it just means they're not going to be dying in every fight, which can happen. And we'll give them, yeah, wisdom and charisma, we'll just stick those there. 2 class skills. I can't remember if we've got anyone with history, so we'll give them that. I don't think we've got anyone with religion either, so we'll do that. Get 1 ancestry language, so I think we have a dwarf, so presumably we have got dwarvish in the party. We'll do orcish. 2 background languages, we'll just add the others that actually do appear in the game. There we go. You do get a spell called Comprehend Languages, which means you can understand other people who speak a language that you don't naturally, but if you can do it for free, why not? Firebolt's good. That's going to be probably our go-to attack in a lot of cases. We've already got Sparkle, so we don't need to take that here. Dancing Lights is quite good. If there's nothing that we can light up, like sort of braziers or candelabra, that sort of thing, then Dancing Lights is just a sort of a light spell you can cast and then move about as well. Those are probably the main ones I do use. I guess we could take something like maybe poison spray. So if something gets up close in our face, we can sort of do like a damage straight away. Oh, we've got another one as well. Maybe something like... maybe Ray of Frost. Just something, if we come across anything that's immune to fire, we've got an option then. Now wizards tend to be a bit more of a Swiss Army knife in the party than a sorcerer. So, I mean, we'll take Magic Missile. That's just, you know, basic damage spell. Identifies the one we want there. We also want Detect Magic. Here we go. So, a lot of the stuff you pick up, you don't know if it's going to be magic or not. I mean, the picture icon may look slightly different, so you kind of know as a player, but the party doesn't realise until you cast this, and then they'll say, oh yes, this is magic, and then we can identify it and find out exactly what it is and use it. Jump's going to be quite good because there is a bit of sort of there are a few jump puzzles, especially to get to treasure, so that's quite a good one to have. Mage armor is probably our main way of actually getting armor. See if there's anything else that's particularly useful. Sleep might be good. You can send enemies to sleep and just sort of take them out of the fight until you're ready to deal with them. Not a big fan of that face. Let's change that maybe. No. I think that's the same as our ranger, isn't it? So we need to do something different. Maybe that. And we're going to give her... oh no, that's skin colour, isn't it? I don't like her being completely red. That's a bit strange. Maybe do something a bit more unusual though. Ooh. I don't mind that. That sort of purpley grey, that's not too bad. Body decorations, tattoos. We could give her sort of a tattoo. To sort of make her look even more exotic. But then saying that, I'm not... I think I didn't mind... I say that now, but I don't know. They're all a bit strange, aren't they? I think we'll just go without. Hair shape. Not too bad. I don't mind that. It's okay. We'll just have a quick look what's next. No. Go back to that. I think I'm going to give her... or maybe something more like a purple. That's quite good. Maybe we'll match that in the eyes as well. Physique not important. Age, maybe a bit older. Now I can't remember what voice we gave our ranger.
I really thought never mind.
A modest success. I'm in your debt, my friend.
Hold firm. You've endured worse.
I think we gave our ranger voice too, so we'll go voice one, just so that when they're all talking together,
unbeatable.
that they don't all speak with the same voice, because you've got so few choices. You know, I've made parties where, you know, each pair of people has had the same voice, which is quite unsettling when they're talking all together. Leodina, that's okay. Leodina Silverlight, there we go. That's not too bad, we'll go with that. And then we'll finish. We didn't spend too much time on that, just playing around a little bit. And there we go. That's our party of adventurers, and we're just going to dive right in and start the game here. Okay, quick adjust to the brightness. I think it's fine, isn't it? Just get into it. Load times they take a bit. They're not too bad, but they're not quick either.
Before the cataclysm, There were no gods on Solasta. No humans either. Then, the rift opened. Some say it was a magical accident, or the work of an evil god. No one knows for sure. The cataclysm destroyed the old High Elf Empire. Manicalan, they called it, and twisted the land beyond recognition. Now, only the brave and the foolish go there, in search of ancient treasures. But something is happening deep in those Badlands. Whatever it is, it can't be good.
And here at the end it mentions these 4 strangers meet in the Gravekeep's cask close to the council chambers. That's us. That's where we start the game.
This beer tastes like donkey piss. Not that I'm complaining.
Is this the place for the Legacy Council job? Hope I'm not too late.
Ran into a bit of trouble on the way here.
Sit, relax. Perhaps you'd enjoy a pint of this obnoxious ale.
If you're here for the council job, get in line. Though if this Lord Karen doesn't show up soon, I may go looking for him.
Another round, barkeeper. 4 of your finest flagons of donkey piss, please.
You're going to be hearing that a lot.
So,
I think they
is
must be
this
very
the
proud
job?
of that joke because it
Getting
keeps coming up.
shit-faced.
Indeed. You mentioned something about some trouble. Would you care to elaborate?
Well, I was heading down a lonely road when 3 shitheads jumped from the bushes, dragged me off, and threw my arse in this broken-down jail. Smelled like some poor bastard had died in there. A strong wind could have took it down.
Right, so this is the start. This is basically a tutorial. So each of our 4 characters is going to give their sort of backstory as to how they've ended up on this mission in this pub talking to each other. And then the first one here is teaching us quite basic stuff like choosing your character and basic movement stuff. I don't need to read through this with you. It's not that difficult at all. It's fairly standard for this type of game. What we can do is I think it's there's a key you can hold down to sort of highlight objects in the environment, and it's here we go. Journal, yeah, that's fine. All quite standard. So it's just to move around. Okay, crawling. So it's going to introduce this. Basically, throughout the games and dungeons and maps, you'll find areas where you can sort of kind of crawl through a small hole to get to another room. Which something a bit different. Sometimes you've got to sort of keep an eye out to spot them. It is Alt. So I'm holding down Alt, and as you can see, it's sort of highlighting this container that we can open. So anything you can interact with will sort of be highlighted by holding that down. We picked up a torch. As a dwarf, we do have dark vision though, so it's not something we're going to really need to use. But as players without dark vision, it might come in useful. There's only really one way we can go here, which is here we go. There we go. So I've already spoken about that. What it does? Okay, interactive elements. Yes. What I was about to say is that by holding down Alt, you can see that I've highlighted this rock, and if I click on that, he's going to shoulder it out of the way and gives us another area to come into. So we're going to enter here. And this looks a bit like the sort of jumping puzzle I mentioned. So we're going to sort of climb around on stuff. There is sort of verticality to this game, so there's stuff to jump around on and climb and all of that. All you really do is click on it though, you don't need to do anything particularly special. And the stronger your character is, the further they're going to be able to jump. So although he's strong, he's saying he can't jump there, so we're just going to have to come around sort of 3 sides of a square. Can we get there? Still no. So I think what we're going to have to do is come up here, and this column that's highlighting, what we can do is we can knock that down to make a bit of a bridge. Like so. So what we're going to have to do, I think, is from this side, where we can get to, what we're going to do is we're going to shoulder this rock out of the way. I've noticed there's a chest here. In fact, there's 2 chests in this room. There we go. Now we can come in here, we can open the chest. Hopefully it's not locked. We've got a health potion, which would be nice. Hopefully useful. There is another chest here. I think I found that, didn't I? Oh, it's disappeared. Oh, I get it. It's down here in this room, isn't it? So this is highlighted. So this is interactive, this piece of wall, and I think what they're suggesting is that we can knock it down onto these 3 bandits who are waiting down here. So we're going to do this. That's one way of doing it. Looting and inventory management. We've already clicked on chests, we understand how that works. Some items stack, like arrows and torches, and some don't.
I needed that.
I wonder why these haven't stacked. Maybe because it's slightly burned. We're going to loot all that. We've got a bit of money, we've got some food. You do need the food because to do a long rest you need to be able to have a ration for each member of your party. So for 4 people, obviously you need 4 rations. At the moment there's only the one of us. But in that chest it looks like we found some armour, a weapon, a shield. So we've got our basic gear from that chest that we just opened. I think I'm going to give myself the healing potion I found though, even though it swapped it out. Crafting manual for a scroll. What we can do is we can right click on that, select read, it looks at that, and what that does is it, under the crafting tab, that adds it to the recipes that we know down here. You need to be able to use a scroll kit, which I don't think this character can do. Or can it? No. But that's okay. I don't tend to use a lot of scrolls anyway in this game. Now the number of inventory slots is, I don't know if it's infinite, but you know, you can have as many squares in your inventory filled, but what does make a difference is weight. So luckily we're a strong character, we're going to be able to carry quite a lot. So I'll probably be like the main pack donkey for our party. Open this door. There we go, that's his story.
Nice move, that trip with the wall. Glad you're no worse for wear.
My flagon is empty of ale, and Lord Karen still isn't here.
I don't mind waiting, as long as they pay us for our bloody time.
Well, let me tell you my story then. I too was accosted on the way here, but I faced my foes head on.
So, what are you waiting for? Spit it out, why don't you?
Now with our Paladin we're in a fight straight away, so this is the combat tutorial. And you're going to spend a lot of time in combat. I think probably the combat is where Solasta shines the brightest. It really is a very faithful recreation of a tabletop game. It's just explaining here, you can move to a point in the yellow area, uses your main action to dash. So you can dash, which is kind of, you dash instead of attacking basically. So you sort of move double your speed, but that's pretty much all you can do. Now it wants us to... So let's get rid of the wall. So did it want me to dash? Is that kind of what it's suggesting there? I mean, we can do. I'm more tempted just to get in close and hit them, to be honest. But let's do what it wants us to do. We'll click dash. And that'll allow us to move sort of double our travel speed. So we can get all the way here on a dash. We found another wolf. So there. So we've dashed and we can't really do anything else, so we're just going to have to end our turn. I think the wolf must have dashed as well. On the positioning, enemies can kind of move through each other as long as there's a space for them to move to, and similarly with your party, we'll be able to move through our companions when we have them. Just talking about attacking, but shoving, then this is interesting because you won't do a lot of this in the game, but you can notice this wolf's over a big gap, and what we can do, and what it's suggesting that we do is pick this option, which is shove. So we're going to use our strength, we're going to choose push away instead of knock over, and click on it and see what happens. Oh, there he goes. So he's immediately out of the fight. That was our actions, that's all we can do. They had advantage. They both rolled quite poorly, so they didn't do any damage to me. But there's another button we can press called dodge, which means that all attackers hitting us on that turn will have disadvantage, which we mentioned already, where they have to roll twice and take the worst result. Do we have dodge? I'm not seeing a dodge there. Oh, here we go, dodge. Well, let's do it, just to see it in action. I don't think I ever used that in the main campaign when I played it, but it's there if you need it. All that really remains is just to hit these with our sword. Boom! So we rolled a 19 there, beat their armour class and did enough damage to kill them in one shot. But we only get one attack at level 1. He rolled low again, didn't do any damage to us, and we're just going to hit him again. There we go. The easiest fight in the game. They do get more difficult. So we're going to come over here. It's highlighted this rock, so obviously wants me to click on that. Oh. Disengaging. So to avoid, so when you're what's called engaged in melee with another creature, when there's someone who's fighting you up close, if you try and move away, they're going to get like a free attack on you, called an attack of opportunity. But if we click this button, there we go, wait for this to start. If we click on disengage here, in fact this is like a boss wolf, he's got way more hit points than us. So we can click disengage, which means that he's not going to get that free attack on us. We're going to, I guess, move here. Is that what it's saying? What does it want us to do? There we go, we click on the rock and he's going to move up here. He's going to shove that rock. Oh, and the whole bridge collapses. Get rid of that big boss wolf.
What a bunch
is that the trophy?
candies.
Someone must have gone down in the river to get it.
Sorax.
I don't remember anyone asking your opinion.
The Badlands are thick with them, shape-shifting bastards.
Go easy on him. He's just a harmless old drunk. Probably saw lizard folk or dragonborn or something.
You think I don't know the difference? All those spines on their backs, those jaws. You've never seen anything like it. Not lizard folk, not troglodyte, not dragonborn, I'm telling you.
No one believes in Sorax anymore. Oh, except the Church of Einar, of course. There's a Sorak under every bed if you believe them.
Easy now. Don't mock people for their faith.
Read them books. Sorax are masters of deception, infiltration. Anyone here could be a Sorak. You'd never know.
I think this is what's called foreshadowing.
Huh, you'll see.
So anyway, Sorax might be legend, but orcs are quite real, and not just in the Badlands. I stumbled across a secret settlement right here in the Principality.
Bullshit.
I travelled here from the east and left the main highway, hoping to save time by traversing the hills. The views were magnificent, but I should have kept my eye on the path, because it gave way beneath my feet, plunging me into Stygian darkness.
Is it me, or do the subtitles not always add up to what they're actually
That's going
saying?
to leave a mark.
So this is the tutorial that teaches you about lighting. I always find it's easy just to choose the races that have dark vision personally, as I've already said. But you do have to, if you haven't got dark vision, make sure that you've got something that you can light. Right, so this is probably going to be a little bit dark on the screen. So if I select a spell called Dancing Lights and cast that, we can move that around and sort of light up different areas, which is quite useful. We can also see that there's a couple of things here highlighted. These are the sort of torches that we can light that's just on the walls. So if we cast spell... we didn't get the sparkle cantrip, did we? But we might be able to do it with our flaming bolt. Yeah, there we go. So we've lit that. Now this is another thing that's highlighted here. So let's I'm not sure what this does. Let's click on that and find out. It's like a cutscene. We've done a little history check there. We've passed it.
Orcs? Here? Strange. I wonder what this totem means.
Very useful. Right. But let's proceed further. Healing. Okay, so this character, as they mentioned, they sort of fell down a hole to get here, and they've only got 3 HP, 3 health points left, so we're going to have to heal that up a little bit. And what do you know? We found a health potion, so let's take all that, and we can right-click this and just drink it here. Let's do that. There we go, back to full health. Now if we come here, here we go.
There they are. Discretion is clearly the better part of valor in this instance.
Cautious mode, but another word for sneaking, basically. So what we have here is this button. We're going to press that, and our character is going to sort of drop into a crouch. They're going to move more slowly and quietly. And they should be. Enemies can spot you, but I think as we're above them, and it's the tutorial, that we will be okay if we just go this way and click on this this thing that they was indicating. And the door's opened up back the way we came, so we're going to creep back over there. There's an orc wandering around down there, which is a bit worrying. It's okay though. We're up here, so I'm going to come out of cautious mode and move a bit quicker. I'm going to climb up. Oh, no, there is a chest there, sorry, so let's... no, that was the one on the other side of the wall, so we open that one already. Bit of jumping. Here. So there's something to interact with over here, so we'll click on that. Blood moss, that's a reagent, an ingredient for potions. Don't make a lot of those, but we'll collect it. We can probably sell it later for a bit of money. We found a campsite, so it'll probably tell us in a tutorial window in a second what we do with that.
No other means of egress is apparent. Fine. I shall wait until they go. These creatures do hunt, right?
Yeah, so when we find one of these campsites that has this icon above them, what we can do is that's where we can have a long rest, and we've already explained about you know, having enough supplies to be able to do that. I'm pretty sure we picked one up in that chest. So yeah, we've got 2 supplies, so 2 rations, so we'll be able to long rest here. And in this game, that's the only way of leveling up. Once you've got enough XP to level up, you can only do that by long resting at one of these campfires. It's just explaining here that on a long rest you get your full health back. A wizard is able to reclaim some of the spell slots they've used, which is quite useful, but we haven't used any yet. What we can do is prepare more spells. So as a wizard, what we've got is a certain number of spells we're able to keep active at any point. Now we don't need to... Actually, we do need to have learned Identify. Can I? I've got to remove something. I think I'll remove Jump, because that's something that's situational. There are places we'll have to jump, but we can probably swap that back in when we need to. So we're just going to validate our choice there. Close that window. And I believe that now, we crawl through this little hole. I believe the orcs have gone. And we can leave. Find the exit. Here we go.
I would have slaughtered every one of those green-skinned monsters.
Orcs have a very distinctive stink.
We should build a council for all this wasted time.
We've all told a tale of our travels here. All but one of us.
Yes, but I have good reason for that. It's none of your bloody business.
Come on now, don't be a
That's the
killjoy.
second time that's happened.
We
I think the
all
people
sang
writing
for our
the
supper.
text captions
Good,
are more polite than the voice actors
Fine.
because
You want to know
it
the
keeps
truth?
saying bloody in the...
I stopped on the way
She
here
keeps
to
saying
visit an
bloody,
old
but it keeps
friend of
writing
mine,
damn, doesn't it?
and discovered he was up to his eyeballs in debt with a loan shark.
Sounds like an idiot.
Indeed. He put up a family heirloom as collateral and wanted me to reacquire it. Because you see, I can be quite stealthy when necessary.
Yeah, we're going to learn a bit more about stealth here. So what we're going to do is we're going to sort of break into this manor and steal something. Stealth. Well, we did stealth in the last one. We know about cautious mode. If you use anything when an enemy is in range of hearing you, you need to do another stealth check. But we did make this character quite stealthy, so we should be okay. We're going to drop into a crouch. We can see some footprints here, which is something else that happens when you're on cautious mode. There we go. So if we hover over the footprints, it tells us they're human tracks, probably bandits, and quite fresh. So there's been someone here recently. I know about the camera by now, believe it or not. We found some thieves' tools or lockpicks, which is going to be... We already had some, but you know, you do
Oh,
need them.
Liam, always thoughtful.
No doubt it's there if you didn't take the low-life background, which gives you the thieves' tools as standard. Now there's some sort of blockage here, and we're just going to break that, I think. Now you can see there's a guard on the battlements up here. So I think if we sneak, they shouldn't see us. There we go. We're going to stay in cautious mode as we proceed through here, just in case there's anyone around to hear us. Lockpicking, it's quite easy really. If you've got thieves' tools in your inventory, all you have to do is click on the door and it'll just do it automatically. There we go, there's a check takes place and we passed. I come in here and now we can see that there are some people around in this area. We're going to try and sneak around. Just keep going on the left here. I think that'll get us around everyone. There's the door we need to take. We'll come in. Something to pick up over there, so we'll just go and do that. It's probably flowers of some kind. It's an angry bush and it's got angry violets. I don't know what makes it angry, but some sort of anger management issues happening over there. Now, it's not highlighting this, but if we do click up here, our character's going to automatically climb up these vines that are hanging down. And now we're inside.
There's a trap.
There, we've seen a trap. So you have to, once you're fairly close to it, it will highlight in red. And actually, the game does pause, I think, when you've spotted a trap, just so you don't run into it by accident. So now that we've seen it, all we have to do, just as with the locked door, is we just have to click on it and they'll have a go at disarming it. And once again we were successful. We go through the door.
Stop. A trap.
There's two chests. We can only click on one and it is trapped. So again, although it's a chest, the fact that when you click on it, it does do the trap first automatically. And then we'll open the chest. And we've got the heirloom that we're looking for, some gold pieces, which is always nice. And now it's saying escape from the fort. Now if we I think if we can come out of cautious mode here probably, if we come over to the window.
There you are, you filthy crook!
You? What? You're drunk. Get out of here before I kill you.
Think you scare me? Not anymore.
A grave mistake.
I find that the voice acting in this game, it is variable. It's always enthusiastic, but
I told
definitely
you I'd
some
take care of it.
some characters are voiced better than others. What we're saying is that Liam here is he's obviously designated as a critical character. So what we need to do is we need to take down this guy who's going to attack him before he kills our friend. Now we're actually first in the initiative order, so that's good. We're going to switch to our bow, I think, and we're going to attack him with that. There, we actually got a crit on that. He's dead. One hit. It might have been something that happens every time in the tutorial. I can't remember.
Are you four here to see Lord Karen?
We finally get a bit of a choice in conversation. So, often in the cutscenes, when someone asks you a question or gives you a choice, each of your characters will come up with a potential answer. And supposedly it's kind of based around the personality traits that we selected originally, but I haven't really tested that. So we can sort of be a bit aggressive. We can say, who's asking? We can probably criticise the ale again, because that's something they like to do. Or we can be even more aggressive. So actually, I think we're probably going to pick
Well,
that.
we're not here to drink ourselves to death.
Let's be sarcastic.
Well, thank you for making that clear. Well, if you're here for Lord Karen of the Legacy Council, that would be me.
Let's take a more aggressive one. Maybe we'll get some money out of
Fine.
it.
I'd like to present you with the bill for the time we just spent cooling our heels.
Feel free. The Council's bursary enjoys a good laugh.
We kinda need a little bit more info about the job, me lord.
Well, I suppose it's better if you know what you're doing. What do you want to know?
Now, we can ask. We try to find out a bit more about the
mission
law.
for the council, but what is it exactly?
Dear Mareike, you don't know? I'll try to make it simple, but you know, politics. The Council includes representatives of the most powerful and influential organizations in the Eastern Kingdoms. It was created to lead a joint effort to explore the Badlands.
Well, we're going to spend a lot of time there, so maybe we'll just try and find out
What
a
are
bit
the
more about what these
Badlands,
Badlands are.
really?
Simply put, they are a monster-ridden, chaotic wasteland that used to be the elven empire called Manicullen. It was destroyed about 1,000 years ago by the Great Cataclysm. Now, only ruins remain, full of forgotten knowledge, riches, and dangers.
All right, well, this is probably a bit of
What are the
background that's relevant to
organizations
us.
you mentioned?
The Council is, how to put it, a non-governmental organization, meaning that state governments are not represented to avoid partisanship. Instead, there are delegates from the Guild of Antiquarians, the Tower of Knowledge, the Arcaneum, and the Circle of Denantar. And the Church of Einar guarantees fairness, led by Marshal Beric Sunblaze and Oathkeeper Lyra Keen.
Now, those are factions that we will be dealing with, and as you
think we
gain
know enough
favour
now.
with each of them, they actually
Thank
offer more things for sale, including recipes for making good armour and weapons and stuff. So it is important to sort of try to keep them on side if you can. I'm not going to ask too many other background questions. We'll just get going, I think.
Very well. Come, gather your things. You're late for your swearing in.
Well, whose fault is that?
We're really bad-tempered, aren't we? Thought it was going to be ready then, but it's still loading. There we go. Finding our way. Okay. It says it's a large city, but I mean, if you played other role-playing games, it's not anything like the scale that you'll get in something like a Baldur's Gate 2 or anything like that. But there is a few things here. But I know from past experience that a lot of these characters aren't going to speak to us yet until we've sort of progressed the main campaign and sort of spoken to the council and got our mission. So we are going to go straight there. We have a little sort of map down here. It's not a very good. There's not much detail, but it does show us sort of what direction our target is in. So we're going to go straight there. We're going to walk around here.
This place is
There's lots of vendors in this area and people to speak to, but as I said, they're not really going to say anything to us until we've been to the council and got things going.
nice gardens.
Yeah, so we want to go straight ahead.
I never
We can also
thought I'd
zoom
get
in a
so
bit
close
if
to
you
the
want to see a bit more
embassies.
detail, but it's probably not, given the state of the character models, it's probably not that advisable. You can kind of see them there in all their glory. But I prefer to play zoomed out. It's a strategy game at heart, really, as much as a role-playing game, so it's good to get like a big overview of things.
Look at the size of this council hall.
So this is what they spend our taxes on.
Look. Is that...
The princess! Wait. Is she leaving?
Apparently so.
Then who will administer the oath?
I can't like this guy. He's obviously the sarcastic one.
The maid who empties her chamber pot? No, we're not as important as that. Perhaps her stable boy.
You thought it would be the princess?
Doesn't she lead the council?
No. In this chamber, she's just another delegate. Lady Keene, the council's oath keeper, is trusted by all.
Lord Karen,
Yes, milady.
are these your new deputies?
They are, milady.
My name is Lyra Keene, Oath Keeper of the Council.
Pipe down.
And I will be
What?
administering
Who's he,
your
who's he
vows.
talking to?
Once sworn in, you will carry the authority of the Council wherever you go. Your every action will reflect upon the Council's reputation. Remember that. Always. Now, please, raise your right hands. Do you, each and all,
None of them has raised their right
solemnly
hand.
swear your lives and allegiance
That was
to
obviously
this
too hard to
council,
animate.
and promise to carry forth our mission to protect our alliance from any who would threaten the common good.
I swear.
Oh, there they go. They did do it.
Excellent.
Just quite late.
Lord Karen will enter your name into the Council's register. Thank you for your service.
Congratulations, deputies.
Wait. That's it.
Were you hoping for a kiss from the princess?
He's definitely, for a
No,
paladin,
no,
he's
I
got a
don't know.
really
It just feels a
sarcastic
bit
attitude.
anticlimactic.
Sorry to disappoint. So, the mission. As I'm sure you know, the Council maintains a number of outposts to secure the border between the Principality and the Marches. One of them is the former Imperial Fortress, KLM. It's held by some 50 troops under the command of Captain Henrik. He sends us weekly status reports, or rather, he used to. We haven't heard a word from him in 3 weeks. Leave immediately for KLM and find out if anyone there is still alive. If Captain Henrik or anyone else is still breathing, bring him back. The Council wants a first-hand report.
I think we're just going to go. As I said, it's fairly light in the
Right,
roleplay.
I
We don't
guess
need to know a
that's
lot about
that.
this stuff.
It's on to KLM.
We're just going to get going. There we go. So it's introducing the faction relations, which I mentioned before. So there's 5 factions that they named. I'm not going to name them all again now, but basically, when we're out and about, we can find artifacts and things like that that certain factions are interested in, and we can come back and give those to them and earn a bit of favour with them. And actually, what we've got here is all our people have leveled up. So what we might do is go straight to the inn, and we'll level up to level 2. And we'll show you how the levelling up process works. So if we have a look at the map, press M. There we go. And what you can actually do is, once you've visited an area, you can often sort of fast travel to it. So if I just click on this arrow, you know, it'll take us straight there, which is good. Saves a bit of time. That's the drunk who was abusing us earlier. We're going to click on the inn services here. We're just going to book a room, and then we'll level up.
Hello, adventurers. What can I offer you?
As I said, they really like this joke about the beer being
Your
bad.
beer is terrible, and that's being polite about it.
What? What? I've never had any complaints about the beer before. Maybe your palate is not refined enough.
Alright, let's
We'd
just
like to
have a room.
stay for the night.
Sure. Just walk up to the suite and settle in.
A suite?
It's more like a large bedroom, really. But you know, this is the capital city.
There we go. I think we've actually just rested automatically there. So after a long rest, you get a screen like this, and if you've leveled up, then we get a little button here that we can press, and yeah, level 2 Paladin. We've unlocked certain class features. Divine Smite, we can use a spell slot to actually do a bit more damage. 2d8, so up to 16 points of extra damage, which is pretty good, and that increases as the spell slots you use go higher. And even more if you're hitting an undead or a fiend. So this is actually really powerful. In later levels, you can do this, you know, almost every attack and just do loads of damage. We get to choose a fighting style, which is good. We can cast Paladin spells, all very good stuff. Now we can choose a fighting style here. We're not going to be doing great weapon fighting. Is really if you're using a two-handed weapon, which I'm not. I'm going for a shield for a bit of extra defense. Defense is a bit boring. We get an extra +1 to AC with that when you're wielding a melee weapon in one hand and no other weapons. So a shield doesn't count as a weapon, I don't believe. So we're going to have +2 bonus to damage rolls. So we'll be doing 2 extra damage with our sword doing that, or protection, which means that when a creature we can see is attacking someone who isn't us, so if we're if there's 2 of us attacking the same creature, and if the creature attacks that other person, we can, so when they do their attack, and if it's successful, we can use our shield to impose disadvantage on them, so they've got less chance of connecting with their attack. That's pretty good, but I'm going to go with dueling. I like that extra bonus, that extra damage bonus. We can prepare some spells as well. Just as before, we've got certain ones that are highlighted and others that aren't. I think that's probably fine. Detect magic we've already got on another character. I don't see a lot of use for detect evil and good, or what does the protection do? I think that probably increases our AC. If we press Alt on that, we get the details. So evil creatures have disadvantage. It isn't bad, but I think probably in practice I'm not going to really use it, so we'll just close that. Our ranger also gets to choose a fighting style and some spells. And here what we're going to do, we're going to go with the 2-weapon fighting on this, because that's good fun. A couple of spells. Good berry's good, because when we're travelling out and about, they'll actually use that spell every time they rest automatically, so we're never going to run out of food, basically, if we've got that. And we will get a cure wounds as well, perhaps, just so that we've got some extra healing in the party. Level up our cleric. It's a few clericy stuff. Channel divinity, actions between rests, just the once. I think that's, we'll probably find out more detail. I think different types of clerics get different abilities there, so we'll find out what we get. We can turn undead, which means if we use that, we're being attacked by sort of undead creatures, they'll sort of run away until they can save against it. Decisive Strike. On a successful attack, we can add 1d6 to our damage and stun the target. And that's going to increase... We got to level 12 in this game, so that'll increase to... What is that? 3 or 4 d6 by the end of the game. That's pretty good. I'm going to check his spells and make sure he's got the stuff we actually want to use. Guiding Bolt's good, I quite like that. We have Magic Missile anyway. So really it's just these sort of detect good and evil ones we don't really use. Inflict wounds is quite good. We don't need him to detect magic either, so that's fine. That all looks good to me. Level up our wizard. We can specialise in a type of magic, more spell slots, and here is the feature that if we, once per day, when we do a short rest, we can recover up a certain number of spell slots we've used, which is good. Now I've heard Court Mage is good, but that feels like more of a frontline fighter. We're going to be sort of staying at the back and just sort of slinging spells. I think probably we're just going to go for the Shock Arcanist, which means when we cast a certain type of spells, they count as being cast at a spell slot higher, such as Burning Hands, Magic Missiles, all those sort of damage spells. They're just going to do more damage, which sounds great to me. Get to add 2 class spells. I'm not seeing a lot of damage here, but what we might do is, what we might add is Burning Hands and Thunderwave. So if things are getting up close and personal with us, we can sort of deal with it. But I think probably that's quite situational. Make sure that we've got the right spells prepared. Yeah, in fact, Thunderwave. We can't even select Thunderwave right now. But that all looks good. We'll leave it like that. And there we go. We're now level 2. So we've got more hit points, which is always nice. So I think we must have the same Constitution score on those 3 characters. They're all on 26, and our wizard is on 16. So we're going to just sort of come outside the inn here. Where's the way out? Is here. And I think that's probably where we're going to leave it today, just for our first session. We've had a couple of small fights in the tutorial, but next time what we're going to do is we're just going to have a quick go around the town. We're going to speak to people, buy a few things for our travels, and then go into the first main mission area and find out what's happening at this outpost. So thanks very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this, then please do subscribe to my channel and help me produce more content. And yes, we'll see you next time.